What I want to show you here is in YouiDraw, and something I haven't shown you before is that we don't want this original drawing to be really pixelated and soft and a small file. So when you actually have a look at your image, what you want to do is you want to go into see how if we're just on the drawing itself, we've got all this here, but if you click on this last one, you will see that you can actually change the size. Now, I looked into Sumo Paint. You can see here, I had a go at doing this drawing earlier and starting to use Sumo Paint to paint it up. And what I noticed was that it was very pixelated. And I realised what had happened was in YouiDraw, I hadn't set up the page properly. So I looked in Sumo Paint to work out what would be the biggest size that I could have to make it less pixelated, and it was 1600 by 1200. So in here I want you to make sure you type in 1600 and in here 1200, okay? And then you can bring your picture in and you can make it fit to size, and then you can start tracing it. But it's very important that the actual image itself is 1600 by 1200 so that when we import it into Sumo, it will not be pixelated, it won't be a soft drawing, it'll be easy to work with. Okay, here we are at YouiDraw again. This time we're going to do a little bit of an artwork, so we're going to do a portrait. First thing I need to do is insert an image. So I will go to the folder where I saved an image, and there's Will Smith. So we'll open him up. There he is. He's quite large, so we might just shrink him down a little bit. I've got my finger on shift and I'm dragging the corner of the picture. This is so it stays constrained and it doesn't look like I've squashed it up. Alright, there it is. Alright, the next thing I want to do is to make sure that this particular picture is locked. So what we need to do is just lock that. The reason being is I want to draw over the top of this, and if I don't lock it, every time I draw something, it's just going to move this picture around. It's going to get very, very annoying. Okay, I'm going to start off here. We might make it a little bit bigger because it's hard to see. I'll get my hand and just move it to where I want it to be. Use the pen tool and we can start drawing. At the moment there is a fill and a stroke. We just want the stroke, but we'll just keep it at that for now. So that's my first point. Second point, stretch a little bit just to round off that edge. Come back in. You can see there how we've got the fill. That is going to get very annoying if we continue with that, so we'll get rid of the fill and come up to this corner. The first thing I'm going to do is just draw the hat. So I'm following along. Now remember, it doesn't matter too much if it's not perfect because you're going to fix that up a little bit later. So we're just going to draw as best we can using the pen. We can go back and we can edit later. And continue around. Remember to pull just to round it off. And then I'm just going to go up. Right, let's just see what that looks like. See how I'm just turning off and on that eyeball there? Just having a look at that. It's not too bad. Right, so that's the first path for the hat. Now we're going to continue on. And we're going to start here. Pull again. Come across. Same thing will happen, it'll continue to just automatically go to fill, so you need to turn that off when you start drawing. So I'm going to just do the rim of the hat at the moment. Alright, so that's the second part done. Okay, we'll go for the next path, which will be the top of the hat. Start it there. Continue it here. Go along the top. Alright, that should be pretty much it. Okay, oh, remember we don't want that fill, so just turn off the fill. Okay, let's just turn off layer 1 again, have a bit of a look. Okay. Now you can see that some of these things aren't joining. While it's turned off, just to make it a little bit easier to see, I might just go on to the path that is that one there. Go to our edit tool and just pull that a little bit closer there and pull this up. Now, click on the move tool. That looks a lot better, doesn't it? Okay, so they look like they're all pretty much joined. Okay, let's go back and have a look at it with the picture as well. You have to just double click that. It's very sensitive. Okay, so this one here is not good. We need to fix it up. So go here and we need to pull that in. We need to pull that there. And we need to add a stroke here. And we need to pull it. Let's pull that. Oops. Check that. We need to make sure that's turned on. Okay, now we can pull it. A little bit of curve there. Right click it, go to Bezier, and you can see that it's going to allow us to not make it so square and make it a little bit rounder. Okay, that's pretty good. Okay, so all this here is the hat. Okay, I'm going to group that and I'm going to rename it. And I'm going to call it hat. Good. Okay. The next thing we want to do is create the ear. So I'm going to start here. Pull it to round it. Okay, drag that. Once again, automatically it will fill with white. So I'm going to turn that off. Click, drag, click, drag, drag, and pretty happy with that. So I'll just click off it. That doesn't look too bad. I don't think I'm going to muck around with that too much. Okay, now I'm going to create another path. Click, pull, click, pull. Once again, get rid of that fill. Click and pull it a little. Pull it a little more. Pull it down. Great. Okay, that's the next part of the ear. Looks good. Get my pen tool. Creating another path. Turning off the fill. That looks pretty good. Just, oops. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Might just edit that just a tad. That should go over there, right? Okay, good. Maybe pull that just a tad. That's better. Okay. And maybe just a little bit here where you can see this part of the ear. And one there and pull it. Once again, get rid of that fill. Click on there. Okay, so now we have the left ear, these paths here. Once again, I put my finger on shift, I click on the first one and then I click on the last one. Then I right click and I go group, and then I will rename it. And I'll call this left ear. Now, I think you're starting to get the hang of it by now. What you'll find is that this video will fast forward and you'll see where I'm heading here. But every time you do something new, and I'll just do the face next just to show you what I mean, I want you to do the same thing. You can use as many paths as you like, but you need to you need to click the first one, click the last one. You need to group it and you need to rename it so you know what everything is. Otherwise it can get very, very confusing. Alright, so once again, start a new path. I'll start at the top where the head is. I'm just following the hairline. Good. Pulling here. This eyeball here, so I'm just going to do a circle. It will have a fill. Colour will be black. Okay. Oops. Okay. This is the one we want to move. Okay, fill. Or do we want it to be brown? It's a pretty nice colour. A little bit darker. Okay. Alright, and still he needs a pupil. Let's get the circle again. This time, yes, we will have a fill. Whoops. Let's off that. Alright. Circle. Let's create a circle. Nice. Fill, yes, but we want it to be black. And we probably want that to be a little bit larger too. So let's... It's pretty nice. Alright. We will refine this a little bit later, but in Illustrator you just do the basic outlines and then perhaps make this a little bit darker because that is a little bit too bright. So for that one, which is our... Not that one. That one. We will make it just a little bit darker because it does actually stand out a little bit too much. That's quite nice. He does have very dark brown eyes. So I've just copied this, just so I didn't have to reinvent the wheel. Arrows on my keyboard. Alright, pretty good. It's down slightly. goes back to fit on screen, and let's go back to the rectangle. Double click. Pretty good. Okay, I'm just going to put a border around it, and I'll show you the reason why a bit later. So we want this box. We do not want a fill. That is excellent. I love it. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to save that. So I'm going to go File, Save As, and I'm going to save it in my Google Drive and in my CC folder. Okay. And then I'm going to export that. So go to Export, and I'm going down here, bottom right, Export. I'm going to save it, and it will be up here. I have Firefox, so it's up there, whatever your download system is. So I'm going to go to here, I'm going to right click, Open Containing Folder, and I'm going to right click, Copy. I'm going to go into the folder where I'm saving everything for CCCloud. Remember, you need to make sure that you've got a folder in one of your folders within your computer. Cloud School, YouiDraw Files, and I'm going to paste it in there so that I can upload it into the next program and find it there. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that little activity, and what we're going to do is we're going to take this file and we're going to then put it into another program called Sumo.